So, what Steve didn't talk about is some of the detail. Now, down at the bottom here, you see calendars, contacts, and mail. Right here. That's the part he did talk about. Now, what he didn't talk about, here's where some of the complexity comes in. This is basically iTunes in the cloud, and it talks about what's the data, what happens to music, what happens to movies, TV shows, things that are in iTunes that we think about traditionally. Right? What happens to that with respect to the cloud? There's also something new here called PhotoScreen, and I'm going to try to demo that for you. Documents in the cloud, what about apps, what about iBooks, backup and restore. And then there's this piece that we talked about earlier, find my iPhone or find my iPad. I'll try to demonstrate some of these for you later. So this is the enhancement beyond what Steve has talked about. He showed you just this component. All of it was immediate and automatic. Nothing new for you to learn, other than to turn iCloud on. Very simple. It just works, right? That was his phrase. Okay? So here we go. This is taking us into another layer. And notice up here, this is the part that Steve talked about, and this is also what he talked about. It's automatic, and it's immediate, and it syncs across all your devices, now including your PC or your Mac. So it keeps them, the data, for the calendar, for your contact list, for your mail, provided you're using their email address, all in sync. Okay? So I'm saying yes, this particular item applies to these features. So what is PhotoScreen? The same is true with PhotoScreen, by the way. It's automatically and immediately synced across all your devices. I'm going to demonstrate it for you, but before I do, I want to talk a little bit about what it is. My demonstration will be, imagine yourself out on a trip, away from home. You've got friends and family at home, or somebody that has access to your computer. Take out your iPad or your iPhone and you go. It immediately goes up to the cloud, down to your PC, or, by the way, my Apple TV is another device. It syncs it up with that. Somebody turns on your Apple TV, there's a whole slideshow just waiting to demonstrate to everybody at home what you're experiencing on your trip, because it's automatically uploaded, brought down to your Apple TV or your computer, and it can be shown as a slideshow. And that's PhotoScreen. So it's kind of a nice feature. Or you're out taking photos and you come home and you then look at it immediately. So let me demonstrate it for you. I'm going to take a photo with my iPad of you all. And I'm going to demonstrate that it will appear on the Apple TV the amount of time that I can get from my slideshow to the Apple TV. It will be there. So first I'm going to turn off the slideshow. Then I'm going to hunt for the camera. Here it is. Make sure that I have my finger away, and here you are. There was the picture. Now I'm going to zip over to the Apple TV. Now for you, those of you that are not familiar with the Apple TV, the Apple TV is like a very small, simple computer itself. It has Wi-Fi capabilities, it has AirPlay capabilities, if you know what that is. And it has its own function. It gives you a screen to operate with. And it can be handy, simple, of course like Mac. It's very simple remote to use. And I can motor around to different features. So for example, if I want to go to Netflix, I can. Again, picture this device hooked up to your TV instead of the projector at home. You can go to Netflix with this device. Or you can connect your iPad and go from your iPad to this device, which I've been doing for class. But I'm just going to go down here to Photo Stream, pick it, and there you are. Now, if I went hunting within my PC, it would also be there. If you had an iPhone, it would be there. So you could take say you and your spouse have an iPhone and you're sharing the same email address. I think this is possible where one could take a photo and call you up and say, hey, check out Photo Stream. Boom. If you want to communicate that way, it's very possible. So just another way to show you how immediate, automatic, and you didn't have to know anything new. It just works. Very nice feature. Okay? Any questions about Photo Stream? So this, all of these, by the way, I was getting ready for the presentation, so I use Photo Stream to send it from my, there's another feature of Photo Stream. There's a folder on your computer where you can drag photos into, or you can load from your camera to a special folder in your computer called Photo Stream. If you load it to there, all of them flow up to all your devices. First to the cloud, and then back down to all your devices. And so they're here. Yes?
How does it interact with iPhone?
iPhone. I think you could move it to your camera roll, and then it would be available for iPhoto. Yes?
Where is it using memory? In every single device?
Storage?
For all the photographs? Do all those photographs eat up memory in every single device?
Yes. Yes. And so that's something to consider. Now, Apple will limit the amount that you can use here, but they give you a generous amount that they will let you put into Photo Stream. And what they do is they will take something and let you put it into Photo Stream, and it can hang in there for 30 days. As you're adding more within that first 30 days, let's say you're on a trip and all on the same day you're getting up to 1,000, you can get to 1,000. So you can have 1,000 items in there, under 30 days old. Once it starts to age, they take it out. So you want to move it to your camera roll or some other place on your PC where you can keep it safe. So it's just a feature, somewhat temporary, but it's a pretty powerful tool. Addition, yes.
And photographs still in iCloud?
That's exactly where they go. So let me repeat. If I took a picture here, it went up to the iCloud, and it's stored there. And then it's shipped down to all your devices. They will keep it up in the cloud and keep all your devices synced. So every device has that picture that I just took, for example. And it will stay there as long as it's not older than 30 days, and I don't exceed 1,000 of these pictures. Okay. So what I did was, you can see in planning my preparation, I was working a lot of these. I took photos from my PC because that tends to be easier for me to use sometimes. I took those photos and put them in that upload folder. Immediately it went to the cloud and up to my iPad, and from there I could take the photo and put it into my slides for the presentation. So that's why they're there. You recognize the two there with Steve Jobs? Okay? So I did use it, and that's why all these are there. Very handy tool. Yes?
Does it need Wi-Fi?
Does it need Wi-Fi? Yes. iCloud always needs Wi-Fi. The interesting thing, and I'll talk about this later, is that you can use any broadband Wi-Fi. In other words, typically, how many people here know and use a phrase called iTunes Wi-Fi sync? It's wirelessly syncing your computer to your iPad, for example. See, show of hands, not many. Okay, well, I'm going to compare it to iCloud, and let me tell you, for you, normally when you sync with the cable, you're going to have your PC right there. What iTunes Wi-Fi sync does, it's the same exact sync, totally the same, except you can take the cable away and you can use the router at your home, turn on your computer, turn on iTunes, just like you would if you had the cable there, and then you can go in and touch a button that says, hey, I want to upload, sync with my computer. With that case, it's Wi-Fi, but it has to be your local area network. You must be at home, and you must have your computer turned on. With the iCloud, you don't. You could be at the local coffee shop. If they have a hotspot there where you can connect to a Wi-Fi, you can be using the cloud. You can take your photo, bing, automatically uploads. Well, you can take your photo and you're out in the country somewhere, and then when you get to your coffee shop, your hotspot, connect to the Wi-Fi, boom, it goes to the cloud, and then back down to all your devices. So it is Wi-Fi based, but it's any Wi-Fi connection, which is different than the other tools. Yes.
How do you transfer from the stream to the iPhotos?
That's a good question. I don't think I have time to go into that, but we can explore that later, and maybe I'll take some of your questions and send them back out to you, a little bit of research. So, we've now gone one step further than what Steve showed us, but it's very similar. It's automatic and immediate. Same is true with your iBooks. You can be anywhere, go into your iPad, go up and download a book into your iPad. It automatically sends a copy of that to your iPhone if you have it. Or if you bought it on your iPhone, it would go up to the cloud, through the Wi-Fi, and back down to your iPad. Automatic. Wherever you're holding your books, it will sync all of them, so that you have the same book or set of books on all your devices. There's nothing new you have to do. It just works. Now there's something new here I'm introducing. On-demand download from the iStore. Probably think of iStore as iTunes Store, but we have a store for the app, we have a store for music and video, and we have a store for books. So we're just combining them all into one store, but we really have different ways to get to the store. So, what is on-demand download? Let me show you. I'm going to go to iBooks. And from there I'm going to go to the store, the upper left-hand corner. Notice down at the bottom, there's a little place called Purchase. Wherever you go, if you're connected to the cloud, wherever you go, you will see any place on the store, whether you're going for a book, going for an app, or going to get music or video. There's always now a new icon that says Purchase. If you click on that, it will show you what have I purchased at the store. And they keep track of this for you forever. Pretty nice. Now the nice feature about it, what is on-demand download? Let's say that I bought these books and I deleted purposely, or maybe by accident, unintentionally, delete it from my iPad. Someday in the future, I might want to come back and reread that book. It's available to you. You go to the store, click on this little purchased icon, it will give you a list, and you can click on one of these buttons. It says download, and it will download to your device. Read download. So it's always available to you. Now this is going to be a new feature that will be true for anything you purchase at the iStore. What else can we purchase at the iStore? Books? Anything else? Apps? That's another one. What else can we purchase at the store? Music lovers? Music? Video, movies, TV shows. Those are also purchased. And so you have the same feature at the appropriate store, App Store, Bookstore, iTunes Store. You have a purchase icon that you can click on, and then you can go up above and say, this is what I want to read, download. So let's say you watch a movie, right? You're done with the movie and you say, oh, delete that. I don't want to use that story with my computer. A couple years later, you say, hey, you know what? My sister's here, and I'd like to share that movie. It was such a good one. Go up here and download it and watch it again. So this is part of a new feature of the iCloud as well, going beyond what Steve introduced to us. Any questions about on-demand download? It's very similar to when you go to the store and you buy something, boop, it downloads to your device. Clicking on here does the same thing. But you had to have purchased it. Okay. So, notice here I have books. We talked about that. Apps. Yes, same is true. Now I can demonstrate that one for you. I'm going to go to the App Store. Now notice, here's the purchased icon, already pressed. Here are applications that I have on my computer, on my iPad. This one I tried out, and it requires a subscription. I think it was to Facebook. I don't do Facebook, so it wasn't useful to me. So I deleted it off my iPad. Well, let's say at some point in the future I'm a Facebook user. I don't want to have to go through that again. Well, I can just go to this little cloud symbol with an arrow, and it means download, and I can download it. It says you have to confirm, just like you do when you buy something. And notice it says installing. So it's putting that app as we speak on my iPad. That's on demand download. Next one is documents in the cloud. It's a difficult one to explain, but I can tell you the working scenario. The reason it's difficult to explain is that it hasn't been developed to a great degree yet. I think it's being set up, and it will, as more people, developers in this world, take an application and they make use of this feature. So it's taking some time for them to say, you know what? I want my particular app to be able to take advantage of the cloud and documents in the cloud. Right now, this feature is limited to iWorks, Pages, Numbers, Keynote. So I can show you a little bit about Keynote later. But the concept is fantastic. It's very similar to what we've talked about so far. Imagine a person at work picks up a spreadsheet, they're on their Mac, and they work to start a spreadsheet. And they go, oh, I got to get home, I'm cooking dinner tonight. So they get on the BART, heading home. Pick out their Apple iPhone. They can bring up that spreadsheet because the spreadsheet went up into the cloud when they signed out, right, left work, and it immediately, almost instantaneously, went down to their iPhone. Now they're on the BART, they bring up numbers, and there it is. They can update it while they're heading home, and when they get home, they can switch to their Mac at home, and it's there. They can polish it off, finish it, close it, go to bed, take the BART home, or back to work the next morning, and it's on their work machine. It's true right now for these three applications. So it's very limited, and it's hard for me to show you because I'm sitting here with a PC. I don't have iWork on it. But I can show you a little bit. I'll try to do that a bit later.
Say you're on BART, if it is about a hot mobile hotspot or something.
You're out of luck.
Can you use cellular data?
Well, you can update it, but you can only update it on your device. So when you finish on your device, let's say, you're still not connected to the Wi-Fi. But when you walk into your house and you're connected to a Wi-Fi, it would go up to the cloud immediately and back in.
But you can't use cellular data.
No, I think you can use cellular data.
So that would mean that
That's a question I need to
you
research.
cloud anywhere.
Yeah, let me make that one of my research questions. Okay? Can you use like 3G or 4G with an iPhone or your iPad to do this communication to the cloud and back? Everything I've read suggests just Wi-Fi, but I should research that. I'll do that. Thank you. Okay. So as developers work with this, you'll get a lot more use out of this feature, but the concept is very neat. You pick up an application on one device, and it's on your other device as you're changing locations or the desire to work on a different device, it's automatically there. So that's kind of what that is. So over here I'm saying it's limited currently. The apps that I know of are Keynote, Pages, and Numbers. And I'm sure that there are some others that have been developed, but you have to know which app, as you download it, and check it out, it will have the feature of iCloud. Great. But I can tell you that I've seen a list on the internet, looking them up on the website, and there were just a handful, and they really weren't applications I was familiar with, so you have to kind of check them out one by one, or do a search, see what you can come up with. But these three, definitely, and I'll demonstrate and show those to you later. Okay. Moving on, here's kind of the big challenge. And if you get through this slide, I'm succeeding in trying to explain the cloud. In a sense, you're partway there. What this slide is trying to do is trying to take what's the different content that's in iTunes that we traditionally think. We know there's music, we know there's video or movies, TV shows. But what we're trying to do is say, let's parse that out. Let's split it out between purchased music versus, hey, I got music some other way. I brought a CD into my computer, ripped off the music and put it into iTunes. So it's trying to distinguish music into subcategories. Somewhat similar is true with movies. I purchase movies, I purchase TV shows, I purchase movie rentals. Well, how does the iCloud deal with that kind of distinction with items that we typically think about in iTunes. Well, purchase music, no problem. It's immediate, it goes across all devices, very much like we first started with when Steve started talking. It also has, because you bought it, they're going to keep a record of it that you purchased it. So you can download it anytime in the future. Say you deleted it, or your device crashed. You want to recover it. I can go to some other device and I can, or say I buy a new device, or I'm reinitializing my crashed iPad or my phone. You can go to the purchase section, immediately download it. Look, that's kind of the feature we've already talked about. And I created another category, which is, you know what? It doesn't get to the cloud. Let's talk about some of these, okay? Purchase music, no problem, automatically updated immediately. I also can go to the store, the iTunes store, find the purchase section, on-demand download. It is stored. Kept on the cloud. Other music that I've ripped or acquired some other way, what? It's not synced. I can't on-demand download it. Holy cow, it's not even stored on the cloud. At first, seems like there's a big hole in the cloud. I don't want it. I have music, I want it up in the cloud. So what do they do and why do they do it? Well, they offer this service I talked about earlier. You can subscribe to what's called Music Match. They will take what's in your iTunes library. If you pay the $25 annual subscription, they will take copies of all that and put it up in the cloud. Then you have, it's treated almost like a purchase music. You have immediate, immediate download access to it. So it will stream to your device and you can play your music from the cloud to your device as long as your Wi-Fi connected. I think you can also download it and store it on your device, correct? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So, we still have this big hole other than if I do Music Match subscriptions. So let's talk about this a little bit. What happens today if your iPad crashes? Do you have access to a way to recover it? Yes, you do. Today you have your computer, right? You can go and hook up your cable, or you can use the Wi-Fi sync with iTunes, and you can then take your storage of all your music that you ripped, that there's a hole in iCloud perceptually, you can bring it over and put it back on your iPad. That's still true. So there's sort of a hole, but they have a backup, which is your computer. So you can either subscribe to Music Match, have it loaded up to the iCloud, pay your $25 a year, or if you're worried about losing your music that you've acquired, you can always do the sync with your cable or through Wi-Fi sync. You also might have some of your CDs available. If you had to, you could go through that whole process and then bring them home. So they give you options, and the question is, why do they exclude them from the cloud? Well, if you think about it, I don't know about you, but I must have 30 hours of continuous music playback on my iPad or my computer. That's a lot of data. And they don't want to have to store it or to have you paying for it if you don't want to. And because you have a way to get at it, if you lost it on your iPad, you can hook it up and recover it with the sync, the traditional iTunes sync. TVs and TV shows and movies. Well, You buy them at the store, but they don't make an automatic sync. That's a little different. Music, they did. If you bought it, they would sync it up for you. But again, think about it through the lens of the amount of data. Do you really want movies and all of that data automatically moved to all your devices, using up your storage? Costing you more if you're using iCloud. Maybe not. So they give it to you and you can buy it at the store, let's say in your iPad, and you can use it there. But if you want, you can go to your PC or your Mac computer and you can on-demand put it there as well, using the on-demand feature. Now you're in control of how much data you're using. So that's why they've given you a little different spin, why it's a little more complicated to understand. Rental movies. You can go to the store, buy rental movies. They basically put them on your device. They don't go to all devices, just the one that you bought it, the rental from, with. There's no on-demand, and it's excluded from the cloud. But that feature really gives you the ability to put a rented movie on your iPad, go traveling on the airplane to Hawaii, and all of a sudden you want to watch a movie. You can bring it up on your device, start to watch it. When you're done, it's kind of like just evaporates from your computer. It disappears. And that's the nature of rental. So why would you have all these other nice iCloud features when it's only there and designed to be watched within a 24-hour window, and then it expires and evaporates? Okay, kind of like Mission Impossible. Remember, you accept this mission, and when you're done, with the tape, it disintegrates. It's the same way with rented movies. So that's how that works. Okay, here's another feature: backup and restore. Very simple and sweet. When you sync your device, cable or through Wi-Fi, iTunes sync, you can back it up, but it's manual. You have to ask it to back up. You do it with cable. With iCloud, it's automatically backed up and it's daily, provided you have your iPad connected to a Wi-Fi and it's plugged into power. It needs power to make sure that it has time to do its work. They don't want to be worried that your battery's going down or to wear it down. So if you have it plugged in at night, you're connected to the Wi-Fi at home at night or at hotel, if you're away from home, boom, automatically it backs up your device. What does it back up? Basically, it's the same stuff, all of your purchase content. By the way, your ripped stuff, music, was never backed up. It is stored on your computer in your library, so there was a way to recover it. So in that way, it's very consistent, cloud versus your connection with the cable. So this is nice, it's automatic, not much you have to do, just plug it in at night. And then there's a new feature, which is Find My Phone. I don't know about any of you, but I had an iPod Touch in my car. I had been on a traveling trip, and I stopped somewhere, and I came back, and my car was broken into. My iPod was gone. When I got my iPad and I found this feature, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to find out where this clown is, right? It's kind of what this is. You can literally go to the website, or there's an app on your, on an iDevice that you can bring up, and it will show you a map, a Google map. And there's the pin saying where it is. I was thinking, elated, I can go find my iPod and where this crook was that stole it out of my car. It turns out you have to have this feature set up. You have to subscribe to it before you can make use of it. Well, I didn't know the feature existed until after my iPod was stolen. But it's a pretty cool feature. Well, maybe it's not even stolen. How many of you got a cell phone and you can't find it at home? So you pick up your home phone, your landline, and you call your cell phone and you're going. Well, you can do that with this. If you lose your iPad at home, you can go to your computer and go to the website, which I'll show you in a minute, and you can send a tone to your iPad, and it will sit there and make this tone until you find it and turn it off. Or imagine that so it can help you locate it on a map, or it can send a sound. Or let's say you left it at your cousin's house and you send him a message and say, hey, when you come over Friday night, would you bring my iPad? All these things are possible with this capability. Or now you're concerned. Let's say you're really concerned. You couldn't find it at home. It's not at your cousin's. You think it may have been stolen, or you know it was taken out of your car. Well, you can actually set a passcode lock on your device from some other device you have. And it's locked up. They don't know the password. They'll have trouble getting in. Or let's say you're really panicked. I don't want them getting at my data. You can actually wipe out the data on your device and render it pretty much useless from your data perspective. They still have your device, but... So that's kind of what this is about.